Hey guitar fanatics, my name is Byron Marks and welcome to the Manchester, New Hampshire Guitar Lessons YouTube channel. In this video we're going to be talking about getting some quick wins for adult beginners, and I'm talking about when it comes to chords. A lot of times when you're either just starting out playing guitar or you've been playing for a little while and you're frustrated, sometimes it's because the chords you're playing might be a little further along than what you're ready for at the time. So what the goal of this video is I'm going to show you 4 chords, but I'm going to show you 3 different levels for each chord. That way you can go from someone who's never played before to maybe these chords are sort of familiar, but not terribly comfortable. And then, okay, well, these chords are pretty comfortable, but I just have problems switching chords, right? That's the big issue right there, is switching chords and being able to move from chord to chord and flow along with the music, right? If you're playing a song, you want to be able to change chords in time. That's what we're going to talk about today. Stick around, let's get started. If you've struggled to play chords on the guitar, any chords at all, I completely understand. I've talked to a lot of beginning guitar players, a lot of students that have come from the same exact point that you're at right now. I remember being there myself when I was first starting out. The easiest way to get through these chords, or just kind of work your way through, I should say, is to start in different steps. To take it in steps. Don't take it as a whole section. So I'm going to use the C chord really quickly for an example. So this is the full C chord. 5 strings. And what happens in a lot of settings, or a lot of times I should say, is that you'll go to learn a chord and you'll, again, just starting from the very beginning, you'll see that chord and maybe look up a video, you see that chord and try to play it. And it seems not so bad, maybe at first, or maybe it's a struggle. I know for me it was a real struggle at first to play that chord. So if there was a simpler way to play it, that would have made it so much easier. If we look at G, same thing. E minor. E minor is the easiest of the 4 we're going to do today. And then D. If we look at those chords in isolation, they don't look so bad. The problem happens though when you go to switch chords. If you have to go from G to D to E minor to C, it looks easy on video, looks easy on paper, but when it goes to the actuality of doing it, that's where things fall apart and where a lot of people tend to get frustrated. Maybe you found the same exact thing. So we're gonna conquer that today. We're gonna show you an easier way to take those 4 chords, break them down, put them into steps, into levels, and then work your way up. So work your way up from playing 3 notes to playing 5 notes, for example, for the C chord. Same for the G chord, the D chord, or the D chord would be 4 notes, and the E minor chord, which would be 6. So I'm gonna show you an approach today. It's gonna take those same chords, I'm gonna break them down. We're going to start with the least amount of notes possible to play the chords, and then we're going to move into, again, levels, 3 levels for each chord. The levels will get more and more involved until you're at the point where you're able to play a full chord. Now, if you find that playing, for example, the C chord, let's say we break that all the way down to 3 notes. If you find that's really easy and you can move around and play the other chords involved, the other chord shapes with that easily, with cool strumming patterns, awesome. Move to the next level and work through that same thing again. If you find that you're struggling, stay there until you get to the point where you can start to move around with some comfort, right? And I'm also going to, in addition to chords, I'm going to talk a little bit about strumming patterns. Some easy strumming patterns you can do. And also, again, I'll give you a list of some songs that use these chords. So again, 4 chords will unlock hundreds of songs. I won't list them all because I don't remember them all offhand, unfortunately. But I will give you a list to start. Hopefully you find ones on there that you like. Let's dig in. The first chord is going to be the C chord. We're going to start with 3 strings. So we're going to use our 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. So your strings at the bottom of the guitar, your thinnest 3 strings. So for this chord, you're going to take your 1st finger and you're going to put it 1st fret on string number 2. And you're going to just play those 3 strings, and that's it. So first you're going to play the strings individually. Right. Sounds pretty good. Now we'll give them a strum. That's a C chord. All the notes you need to make a C chord are right there. Right? And again, this is something that if you're just picking up a guitar for the first time, you can absolutely do. Instead of going for the full chord right away, use this. Next, we're going to take a look at using a second finger for the C chord. What you're going to do here is you're going to keep your first finger where it was, which is going to be, again, first fret on the second string. Then we're going to take your middle finger, and that's going to go second fret on the fourth string. So now we have two notes pressed down. We also have two strings that are open. So when a string is open, it simply means you don't press down on anything at all. You leave the string as is. Let them ring out as they are. You don't have to do anything to them. The notes that we are pressing down on, the strings that we're pressing down on, are the fourth string and the second string. So those two notes. So when we play them all together, we're going to get. And again, just picking each note by itself. And then a strum. And again. That's the next level of the C chord. All right, so now we've got the first level of the C chord again, which is just one finger, 3 strings. We've got the second level, which is 2 fingers and 4 strings. Now that's going to set us up for our third level here. And that's going to be to take your third finger, your ring finger, and you're going to put it 3rd fret on string number 5. So you get this. I'll pick each note individually one more time. And then one strum. And that's our C chord. Those 3 levels for the C chord. Again, find the one that works best for you. Try them all, but when it gets time to playing music with these, understand that you may need to use a different version of the chord, and that's totally fine. It's still a C chord. If you walked into any jam, any musical situation, someone said play a C chord, and you play this, that's a C chord. You're fine. Totally fine. All right, let's go on to our next chord. Our next chord is going to be the E minor chord. Right? We're going to start with, again, 3 strings. So this is going to be, I joke around with my students with this all the time, I think the easiest thing you'll ever play in life. Okay? So you're going to start with the 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, all open. You don't have to press down at all. You just simply play those strings. Now, if you want a quick musical example of where this comes from, listen to the beginning of the song "Nothing Else Matters" by Metallica. It's those 3 strings plus the 6th string. Okay. So, anyways, staying back on topic. The E minor chord, 3 strings. So you can, again, we're not pressing down on anything here. We're just playing those 3 strings open, nice and easy. Now, when you strum. Again, strum all 3 strings. That's an E minor chord. Okay. That's a great starting point. Now, again, if that's really simple for you, if you've played this chord before, if it feels like, okay, well, I can get from that chord to the C chord really easily. Great. Let's take a look at going a little deeper into the E minor chord. Now we're going to bring our ring finger into the mix. So your ring finger is going to go 2nd fret on your 4th string. So now we've made this chord, we've gone from a 3 string to 4 string. Now the advantage here is you do get a bass note, so the chord sounds a little deeper sounding. If you like that, that's great. If you want to start here, you certainly can. Start there. Again, 4 notes. So we have 2nd fret on the 4th string, while our bottom 3 strings, strings 3, 2, and 1, still remain open. We don't have to press down on those at all. And there's the E minor chord. Now our next voicing, our next version of the E minor chord is going to involve now taking the middle finger, and it's going to go 2nd fret on the 5th string. So now you're going to have 2nd fret on the 5th string, 2nd fret on the 4th string, and the bottom 3 strings still open. We're also going to include our 6th string. So here, that's the full chord. And if you want to hear it note by note, that's the E minor chord. Our next chord is going to be D. Okay. So here, this chord is going to be 4 strings. So we're going to start with our 4th string and strum down towards the floor. So first version, we're just going to play 2 notes, and that's going to be our open 4th string, and you're going to take your first finger and you're going to put it 2nd fret on the 3rd string, the string right below. And you're just going to play those 2. And this is also called a power chord. So you can just play those 2 notes. That's going to be the starting point. Now, to add on to that, our next note is going to be this. You're going to take your 3rd finger, and it's going to go 3rd fret on your 2nd string. So now we'd have 3 notes here. Again, so open 4th string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, 3rd fret on the 2nd string. So one at a time, and then all together. Now the toughest one with this chord is to, if you're doing this, either one of these first two versions, either playing two notes or 3 notes, is going to be to stop your pick before it gets to the 1st string. Now, if you're just starting out, don't worry about it. If worse comes to worse, if you strum all 4 and that 1st string is in there, that's okay. That's okay. You will hear plenty of and see plenty of examples of songs that use stuff like that. That use that this part of the D chord with the 1st string open. It's a very common thing. So don't be afraid. The ground isn't going to open up and swallow you whole if you play the open 1st string on that D chord. All right. The next version I'm going to show you of the D chord is we're going to take our 1st finger, still is going to be here, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then we're going to take our middle finger and put it 2nd fret on the 1st string. We're going to ignore the 2nd string altogether. And this is kind of cool because you can lean your 1st finger and it's going to naturally block the 2nd string. So you have those 3 notes. Right. So you're going to play 4th string open, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, 2nd fret on the 1st string. And your finger can naturally, either finger can naturally lean into the 2nd string and block it. So here we're going to do an additional voicing. Again, if you're comfortable with all those, now I'm going to show you the full D chord. So we're going to take the first 2 notes that we just had. So you got 1st finger, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, 2nd finger, 2nd fret on the 1st string, ring finger is going to go 3rd fret on the 2nd string. And we're still 4 strings here. Now additionally, if you wanted, you could add the 5th string here. Adds a little bit of thickness to the chord, sounds pretty cool. And all these notes are contained within the chord, so you're not doing anything wrong or outside or that's frowned upon. You can go again, like any of these other chords, you can go anywhere, play these, and you're completely fine. Here's your D chord. This brings us to our last chord, the G chord. So for this, again, we're going to break it down. So I'm going to show you, again, and this one's going to have more than 3 ways here. But again, please don't be overwhelmed by that. Take these as they feel comfortable. Work your way up. Don't feel that you have to play the full chord for any of these right away. Start with whatever version is easiest for you to do right now. Think about it this way. If you were playing a song, like let's say you were playing Sweet Home Alabama or Sweet Child of Mine, both of those songs contain these chords. Maybe not all of them, but at least 3 of them, D, C, and G. What would you have to do to be able to play that song right now? Start with those chords, those voicings or those versions of the chord, and work your way up from there. All right, so let's take a look at the G chord. So again, much like the E minor chord, we're going to take 3 open strings, but this time we're going to use strings 4, 3, and 2. We're going to use those chords. Or those strings, I'm sorry. We're going to use those strings. And that's going to be your chord. That's a G chord. Our next version, we're going to take the pinky finger, and you're going to put it, I know, the dreaded pinky, right? We're going to take the pinky finger, and we're going to put it 3rd fret on the 1st string, but we're going to leave strings 4, 3, and 2 open still. So we have this. That's a G chord. To add on to that now, if we take the ring finger and put it 3rd fret on the 2nd string, we still have G chord. We just have 1 less open string. So we have 2 fretted notes, 2 open notes. So the 4th string is still open, the 3rd string is still open. Now we have a fretted note on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and on the 1st string, 3rd fret. Now we're going to add on to that. We're going to take the 1st finger, and it's going to go 2nd fret on string number 5. We're still going to have, so we still have the 2 open strings. The 4th string and 3rd string are still open. The 2nd and 1st strings are still fretted at the 3rd fret. But we're going to add this low note now, 2nd fret on the 5th string. So when we strum that, we now have a G chord, again, with 5 strings. And to round this chord out, if you add your middle finger, 3rd fret, on the 6th string, we now have the full G chord, right? And by full, I mean we're using all possible fingers on our fretting hand to play the chord. So there's a G chord. Now let's talk about strumming patterns. Strumming patterns are what's going to take this from sounding like just a regular chord to something that's musical. Now, the first thing you should do to practice this is to start with strumming each chord smooth and working on going smoothly from chord to chord. So you're going to strum each chord one time, and then you're going to go to the next chord. The idea here is to get a flow going so that the chords sound nice and smooth and there's no break in between. So we want to go C, D, E minor, G, and I'll do that one more time. So C, D, E minor, G. Now I also want to talk quickly about when you strum. So when you strum through, if we had to think about these, the strings, your pick should go straight through. Try not to angle up or down. You just want the pick to go smoothly across the top of the strings. So you don't have to use a lot of pick. I recommend just using maybe just having like just the tip of the pick showing, and that's plenty. That's fine. That's all you'll need. And you want to brush across the top of the strings. Right? So not digging down too deep. And the beauty of these 4 chords is you can put them in any order and they sound great together, and that's why they work so well and why you hear so many songs that are based off of these chords. So again, with your strumming, right, you want to be smooth in the left hand in going from chord to chord, and that's why the breakdown is essential. Is if you're having a hard time, say you could play, maybe you can play this version of the C chord, the 2-finger version, 4 strings. But maybe for D, it's smoothest going just with 1. That's fine. Then maybe for E minor, maybe you can do 2. And then maybe for G, 1. Still sounds cool, right? So you have... Again, start with what chord is the easiest for you to do musical things with. You can always play more involved voicings when you're practicing, as you should. But when you're looking to play music, or you're just playing for fun or just for the enjoyment of playing, start with what's easiest to do right now. All right, so back to strumming. Again, now let's take 4, the number 4. So we'll just strum each chord 4 times. Let's C, then D, E minor, and then G. So I forgot it for a second. Let me do that one more time. So we have C, and I'll do these all as their 1-finger version. D, see, it already sounds very musical. Now the next step for that is, so we went 1 through 4, strumming on all 4 strums. Now just simply subtract a number. Take a number out. So say you want to do 1, 3, and 4 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. So you do 1, nothing on 2, 3, 4, 1, nothing on 2, 3, 4, E minor, 1, nothing on 2, 3, 4, G, 1, nothing on 2, 3, 4. Already sounds, again, like music. Now you're making music. And you can do this all day long. Pretty cool, right? All right, so to wrap up, I'm going to list some songs next that use these 4 chords. Not necessarily in that order, but that do use them. So again, remember, take these in small steps. Do what's comfortable and easy to do now and what allows you to do other things to move on from, while also at the same time practicing the other versions or other voicings of these chords. Right? Have a lot of fun with this. This is really cool. And you can do this with every chord you'll ever learn. That's the other thing. This video would be way too long if we went down and broke down every single chord and all the possibilities. But just know that you can do this with every single chord. Have fun with this, practice it, and make music. And get that permagrin going. All right? Don't forget, if you like this video, please share it, like the channel, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be new videos coming on a fairly regular basis, all kinds of things to help you. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Happy practicing.